Imagine a room plunged in pitch-black darkness at 3 a.m. The only sounds in existence are the low hum of a refrigerator and the shallow, broken breathing of a man lying in bed. He is not tied up, the door is unlocked, and there are no guards stationed outside. Yet he is a prisoner, confined more tightly than in any supermax facility in the world, because these bars are not made of steel, but forged from his own thoughts. Look closely into those wide-open eyes staring blankly at the ceiling. You will see a war raging in silence. His mind is rewinding and replaying a mere 30-second conversation from yesterday morning's meeting, dissecting every inflection, analyzing every frown from a colleague, and constructing a catastrophic scenario where he gets fired, loses his home, and dies in solitude. This is the Matrix. It is a simulation created by the brain to protect its owner, but it has turned to devour their peace. You know this feeling, don't you? That sensation when your chest tightens, not because of a real danger standing in front of you, but because of a ghost that hasn't even happened. You sit there, beside a cup of cold coffee, and instead of enjoying the morning aroma or the sunlight streaming through the window, you let your mind drift to an unsent email, a casual remark from someone, or a mistake from 10 years ago. That is when you step into the world's worst time machine. It only takes you to terrifying futures or regretful pasts, and it steals the most valuable asset you own, the present moment. The ancient Stoics saw through this trap thousands of years ago. Seneca, one of the most powerful and wealthy men in Rome, once said that we suffer more in imagination than in reality. Let that realization sink deep into your mindset. The pain you are feeling, the anxiety gnawing at your stomach, rarely comes from the event itself, but from the story you tell yourself about that event. The human brain is a magnificent survival tool. It was designed over millions of years to detect beasts in the bushes, to anticipate deadly threats to keep our ancestors alive. But in this safe, modern world, that mechanism misfires. There are no saber-toothed tigers lurking outside the cave anymore, so the brain begins turning harmless things into monsters. A text message without an emoji becomes a sign of hatred, a fleeting glance becomes disdain, and silence becomes the siren of an impending collapse. You are turning yourself into a victim of your own superior analytical ability. Your intelligence is no longer a blessing. It has become a curse, driving you to dig into bottomless pits of hypotheticals. Look back at that prisoner at 3 a.m. He believes that constant thinking is a way to solve the problem. He mistakes worrying for preparation, thinking that if he can predict every worst-case scenario, he will be safe. But that is a sweet lie whispered by anxiety. The brutal truth is that racing in your mind gets you nowhere. It is like slamming the gas pedal when a car is stuck in mud. The wheels spin, the engine roars, smoke rises, and energy is burned up, but the car does not move a single inch. Overthinking is not deep thinking. It is paralysis disguised as mental busyness. When you are stuck in this loop, you are not living your life. You are living in a B-grade horror movie where you are the director, the lead actor, and the only audience member. Marcus Aurelius, the great Roman emperor who carried the weight of an empire, who faced war, plague, and betrayal, wrote to himself that a person's life is what their thoughts make of it. He understood that the outside world is objective, a series of neutral events, but the lens through which we view the world determines the color of our lives. When you let overthinking take the wheel, you blacken that lens, turning every opportunity into a risk and every smile into mockery. Observe the mechanics of this monster. It usually starts with two harmless words. But what if? But what if I fail? But what if they don't like me? But what if I make the wrong decision? These questions are like weed seeds. If not plucked out immediately, they spread at breakneck speed, strangling your action and your will. You become hesitant, you procrastinate, you retreat into a safe shell. And while you are busy building defensive walls in your head, real life passes by. Opportunities vanish, and relationships fracture because of your mental absence. You might be eating dinner with your family, but your mind is in tomorrow's meeting. You might be walking in the park, but your spirit is lost in an argument that ended last week. The greatest irony is that trying to control everything through thought is exactly why you lose total control. You are trying to grasp water with your bare hands. The tighter you squeeze, the faster it flows away. The Stoics called this a fatal confusion between what is within our control and what is not. As long as you try to use thought to bend reality to the will of your fear, you will forever remain a slave in that prison without bars. But that prison door has never been locked. The key is right in your pocket. You are just too busy looking at the ghosts on the wall to realize that the exit is right there, waiting for a decisive turn of awareness. To escape, first, you must learn to see your thoughts as separate objects, not as yourself. You must become the observer standing on the balcony, looking down at the noisy traffic of the mind, instead of throwing yourself into traffic to be crushed. And this liberation begins with a simple yet earth-shattering truth. You are not your thoughts. You are the one listening to them. That tiny distance between the observer and the voice in your head is the first sliver of light entering your dark cell. It is the moment you realize that the radio broadcasting those disaster news reports is not speaking the truth. It is just static interference. When you detach yourself from that chaotic stream of thought, you begin to reclaim your power. Not by trying to smash the radio, because the more you try to silence it, the louder it screams, but simply by refusing to believe what it is broadcasting. This is the core turning point of Stoic philosophy, the sharp distinction between what lies within our hands and what has slipped beyond our reach. This is a principle that Epictetus, the great slave of Rome, spent his life engraving into the heart of humanity. Picture Epictetus, a man with a crippled leg, living in servitude, yet possessing a mind freer than the Emperor Nero himself. He taught that suffering is not born from events, but from how we judge those events. Look back at your sleepless nights. Are you trying to rewrite the script for a movie that has already finished playing? Or are you trying to direct a film that hasn't even started filming? You are playing the role of a fallen god, attempting to control the infinite variables of the universe with a finite brain. The most powerful metaphor the Stoics used is that of an archer. Imagine standing on the training ground, bow in hand, eyes locked on the bullseye. All that is within your control is your focus, your stance, the tension of the string, and the moment of release. That is your territory. That is where your authority is absolute. But the moment the arrow leaves the string, it no longer belongs to you. A sudden gust of wind might blow it off course, or the target might move. Standing there screaming, tearing your hair out, or worrying yourself sick will not change the arrow's trajectory by a single millimeter. Overthinking is the foolish act of trying to steer the arrow after it has already flown. You are wasting precious life energy wrestling with the wind and moving targets, things that are utterly indifferent to your desires. The exhaustion you feel every day does not come from your workload. It comes from the heavy burden of trying to control the uncontrollable. You want everyone to think highly of you. You want every plan to go 100% smoothly. You want the past to be different. And when reality refuses to obey your commands, you retreat into your head and begin a trial against yourself. Have you noticed that you are more cruel to yourself than any enemy could ever be? If a friend came to you confessing a mistake, you would comfort them. You would say, "It's okay, let's try again." But when you make that same mistake, the voice in your head instantly transforms into a brutal warden, abusing you, calling you a failure, useless, unworthy of love. This spiraling thought process is a form of mental self-harm. You are taking a knife to your own self-esteem over and over again. And the tragedy is, you are addicted to that pain because it feels familiar, and it gives you the illusion that you are taking responsibility. Stop for a moment. Take a deep breath and look at your clenched hands. Let them go. The tension you are carrying is not a badge of honor. It is a sign that you are refusing to accept the flow of nature. You are standing in the middle of a raging river, trying to stop the water with your bare hands, wondering why you are so tired and soaked, when all you need to do is climb onto the bank or float with the current. External events, a boss's comment, a lover's attitude, the economy, these are neutral data points, just like the weather. Rain is not bad. Rain is just physics, water falling from the sky. It only becomes bad when you have planned a picnic and you start cursing the heavens. It is the resistance to reality, the thought that it shouldn't be like this, that is the source of every storm raging inside you. The matrix of overthinking is fueled by quote-unquote time. It burns the past into regret and incinerates the future into anxiety, leaving the present as nothing but a pile of cold ash. You are rarely truly here, right now. When you shower, you are arguing with a colleague in your head. When you drive, you are panicking about next month's bills. Your body is a hollow shell moving through the physical world, while your soul has been kidnapped to timelines that do not exist. Seneca once warned that he who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. By worrying in advance, you are paying interest on a debt you may never even take out. You are experiencing the pain of failure, even if that failure has never happened, and perhaps never will. You are living in a simulated hell programmed by yourself, where every tragedy is magnified 1,000 times beyond its naked reality. And the scariest part is, the more you think, the more you believe you are finding a solution, but actually, you are just digging the hole deeper. Logical thinking and rumination are two completely different mechanisms. Logical thinking is a straight line from problem to solution. Rumination is a vicious circle from fear to greater fear. You need to learn to recognize this difference from the very first physical signals. Clear thinking brings a sense of expansion and relief, while overthinking brings a sense of contraction, heaviness, and suffocation in the chest. To break this loop, you do not need more information. You do not need more analysis. You do not need more strategy. You need a circuit breaker. You need a drastic action to drag your mind back to the raw, rough, but truthful reality right beneath your feet. The matrix of overthinking is fueled by quote-unquote time. It burns the past into regret and incinerates the future into anxiety, leaving the present as nothing but a pile of cold ash. You are rarely truly here, right now. When you shower, you are arguing with a colleague in your head. When you drive, you are panicking about next month's bills. Your body is a hollow shell moving through the physical world, while your soul has been kidnapped to timelines that do not exist. Seneca once warned that he who suffers before it is necessary suffers more than is necessary. By worrying in advance, you are paying interest on a debt you may never even take out. You are experiencing the pain of failure, even if that failure has never happened, and perhaps never will. You are living in a simulated hell programmed by yourself, where every tragedy is magnified 1,000 times beyond its naked reality. And the scariest part is, the more you think, the more you believe you are finding a solution, but actually, you are just digging the hole deeper. Logical thinking and rumination are two completely different mechanisms. Logical thinking is a straight line from problem to solution. Rumination is a vicious circle from fear to greater fear. You need to learn to recognize this difference from the very first physical signals. Clear thinking brings a sense of expansion and relief, while overthinking brings a sense of contraction, heaviness, and suffocation in the chest. To break this loop, you do not need more information. You do not need more analysis. You do not need more strategy. You need a circuit breaker. You need a drastic action to drag your mind back to the raw, rough, but truthful reality right beneath your feet. To execute this circuit breaker, you do not need a mystical ritual or an ascetic pilgrimage to the peak of the Himalayas. You only need an act so simple it feels crude. Return to your senses. Try it right now. As you are listening to these words, do not just skim through with your mind. Feel the weight of your body pressing down on the chair. Feel the roughness of the table under your fingertips, or the cool air touching your skin. That sensation is the heavy iron anchor dropped to the seabed, keeping the ship of your mind from being swept away by the tsunamis of thought. When you pour your entire attention into a physical sensation, the brain is forced to stop writing scripts for future disasters to process the data of the now. And in that brief moment, the precious silence returns. But to truly escape this prison for good, you need a stronger dose. You need a radical shift in perspective that philosophers call the view from above. Imagine floating up from your body, passing through the ceiling. Rise higher than the trees, higher than the skyscrapers, until you see your entire city as nothing more than a glowing circuit board glittering below. Continue rising until the city vanishes, the country becomes a mere patch of color on a map, and the earth is just a blue marble suspended in the pitch-black ocean of the infinite cosmos. From this height, look down at the tiny dot that is you, sitting there, tearing your hair out over a criticism or losing sleep over a work mistake. Do you see the absurdity? In this vast universe that has existed for billions of years, where stars are born and die in cataclysmic explosions, your anxiety about what others think suddenly becomes laughable and meaningless. This is not meant to make you feel depressed or small in a negative way, but to liberate you. When you realize your insignificance, you also realize the insignificance of the problems you carry. Your ego is always trying to convince you that you are the center of the universe. It tells you that all eyes are on you, that every mistake you make will be recorded in the history books of humanity. But the brutal and comforting truth is, nobody cares that much. Everyone is busy with the movie playing in their own heads. They are too busy fighting their own monsters. You are free. Overthinking is often a shield masking cowardice against action, a sophisticated mechanism of procrastination. We tell ourselves we need to think a little more to find the perfect solution. But in the real world, there are no perfect solutions, only trade-offs. Marcus Aurelius often reminded himself that the path is not for pondering, but for walking. The obstacle is the way. When you stand before a difficult decision and your brain starts replaying failure scenarios, remember that paralysis is worse than error. A wrong decision at least brings new data, a practical lesson to adjust your course. But hesitation born of overthinking brings only the rot and aging of the soul. Look at the Spartan warriors or the Roman gladiators. They did not enter the arena analyzing the probability of survival. They entered with intense focus on the action right in front of them. Raise the shield, swing the sword, dodge the blow. They lived in execution mode, not simulation mode. Your life is just such an arena. You cannot fight by sitting in the stands and drawing tactical charts in your head forever. You must jump into the hot sand, risk getting hurt, accept the chaos, because it is only in action that fear dissolves. Action is the only antidote to anxiety. You cannot think your way out of fear. You must act your way out of it. And this is where you must equip yourself with the ultimate weapon of stoicism, amor fati, the love of fate. It is not just acceptance, it is loving everything that happens, even the worst things your mind is inventing. The matrix of overthinking operates on the fear of unwanted outcomes. But if you look that monster straight in the eye and say, "Fine, if that happens, I will embrace it. I will use it as fuel to burn my own fire," then the monster loses its claws. When you no longer fear the result, the obsessive thinking process collapses. Ask yourself, what is the absolute worst that could happen? Maybe you lose your job. Fine. You will find another or start something new. Maybe they will leave you. Fine. You will learn to stand alone and become stronger. Once you have accepted the worst-case scenario, you strip the mind of its power to terrify you. You can walk lightly, like a person who has nothing left to lose, and therefore has everything to win. But there is one final, brutal truth you must face. A truth with the power to tear apart every curtain of illusion that overthinking has erected. a blade sharp enough to cut through every tether of hesitation. You are dying. Do not look away. Do not dodge this. Look straight into the finite nature of this existence. Every second passing as you sit there, paralyzed by imaginary scenarios in your head, is a second gone forever, never to return. You are acting as if you signed a contract for immortality with life, as if you can waste today worrying and will finally start living tomorrow, or next week, or whenever you feel ready. We do not have a short life, but we make it short by throwing our time out the window into meaningless things. And nothing is more meaningless, wasteful, and insulting to the gift of life than locking yourself in the dungeon of your mind to fear things that have not happened. Remember, you are not immortal. This is not pessimism. This is the most potent stimulant in the world. Imagine you are standing in the middle of an ancient cemetery. Look at the tombstones worn down by time. Beneath that soil lie people who once lost sleep over how they looked in public, who were tormented by lost money, who agonized over a breakup, who panicked over career failures. Where are all those worries now? They have vanished into nothingness along with their bones. The absolute silence of death makes the noise of overthinking look ridiculous. In the context of eternity, being rejected, being laughed at, or making a mistake means absolutely nothing. The universe does not care about your ego. And that is the greatest liberation. Why tremble before the opinions of others who will soon become dust just like you? When you deeply understand that death is smiling, waiting at the end of the road, you will have no time for the nonsense of speculation. You will realize that the greatest fear is not failure, but reaching the end of your life and realizing you never truly lived, that you were just a passive spectator in your own movie. Overthinking is a thief of experience. It steals the taste of your meal, the warmth of a hug, and the beauty of a sunset by covering them in a fog of distraction. To escape this matrix, you must treat every present moment as if it were the last one you have. If this were the last time you spoke to a loved one, would you sit there worrying about a work email? No. You would be fully present. You would listen to every word. You would look deep into their eyes. That is how you must live every single day. The great escape from the prison of the mind does not end with you becoming a meditation master who never has negative thoughts. It ends with you becoming a warrior of attention. Thoughts will still creep in. The monsters will still knock on the door. But instead of inviting them in, making tea, and chatting with them all night, you simply nod in acknowledgement and get back to work. You replace the question, "Why is this happening to me?" with, "What can I do right now?" You shift from being a victim of thought to being a master of action. You understand that peace is not the absence of the storm, but the stillness in the eye of the storm, where you stand firm, observing the chaos, but not being swept away by it. The prison door is wide open. Sunlight is flooding the hallway. No one is holding you back except your own habits. Stand up from the bed of anxiety. Step out of the dark room of hypotheticals. Take a deep breath of the cold, dusty, but real air of the outside world. Accept the risk. Accept the vulnerability. Accept the mistakes. Because that is the price of truly being alive. Do not think about walking anymore. Walk. Do not think about life anymore. Live. The matrix collapses the moment you decide that reality, no matter how brutal, is still more beautiful than any safe dream. You are free. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.